एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
Iran is boiling. Iranians are protesting against the Khamenei regime. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Iranians to keep protesting and take over institutions, and has assured them that help is on the way.
Well, no, they're starting to, it looks like, and there seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets that they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. They won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force. So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly.
This week on Get Me Right is Somanath Swabhiman Parv, marking 1,000 years of the attack by Mahmud of Ghazni, the culmination of a battle of narratives that started with the coming to power of Narendra Modi as Prime Minister in 2014. Also this week, India reached the world with Responsible Nations Index, RNI, our very own rating system that will judge nations based on Indian yardsticks and not that of Moody's and Fitch. And has Donald Trump got it all wrong with tariffs, as India's exports to the United States continue to rise and China records its highest trade surplus in history, over US $1.2 trillion. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, only on Republic TV.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिकर।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आर्थिक मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो, मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी। अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ।
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Iran is boiling. Iranians are protesting against the Khamenei regime. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Iranians to keep protesting and take over institutions, and has assured them that help is on the way.
Well, no, they're starting to, it looks like, and there seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets that they wouldn't believe. if they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. They won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force. So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Good morning, viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for another edition of India's definitive platform on the future of artificial intelligence. Republic Media Network proudly presents the Republic AI Summit and Awards 2026, a powerful convergence of technology leaders, innovators and visionaries shaping India's AI journey. Centered on the theme Cracking India's AI Code, this summit will spotlight bold ideas, responsible innovation and breakthrough leadership driving India's AI ambitions. The day culminates with the Republic AI Awards 2026, honoring excellence and impact across the AI ecosystem. So catch us live on 19th of January 2026 as India's AI future takes center stage only on Republic TV. And viewers, now let's take a look at the headlines at the top of 10. Donald Trump imposes a 10% additional tariff on 8 NATO nations sending troops to Greenland for a surveillance mission starting 1st of February. West Bengal LOP Suvendu Adhikari writes to the governor demanding deployment of central paramilitary forces in violence-hit Murshidabad. India seeks early consular access for 16 Indian crew detained by Iran. Eknath Shinde moves Sena corporators to a hotel amid fears of poaching and the battle for BMC's mayoral post. And Prime Minister Modi to lay foundation stone for Kaziranga Elevated Corridor project worth over 6,950 crore rupees in Assam's Kaliabor. And women's doubles semi-final match at India Open between the doubles pair comes to a halt because of Pigeon Pope incident at the Indira Gandhi Stadium. From Karnataka first, Congress leader Rajiv Gaura there is facing a backlash after allegedly abusing and threatening Shidlaghata Municipal Commissioner Amrutha Gaura after the removal of promotional banners for a film starring the son of a housing minister BZ Zamir Ahmad Khan. Well, the incident has sparked outrage with the opposition parties BJP and the JDS demanding strict action against Gaura. And in an audio clip, Gaura is heard using swear words and threatening to set fire to the municipal office and incite riots if the banners aren't returned. The commissioner has filed now a police complaint and Gaura has been booked under various sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. The Congress party meanwhile has issued a show cause notice to Gaura and there's a growing pressure for his expulsion. The incident has also drawn criticism from women's organizations and the National Commission for Women. All right, viewers, more breaking news related to this too big story from Karnataka. So BJP and JDS are demanding the expulsion of Karnataka Congress leader Rajiv Gora. And this after an audio clip went viral where he's threatening to set the municipal office on fire. The Congress leader Rajiv Gora has now been booked under various sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita. However, there are increased demands for his expulsion from the Congress party. So that is the big story that is coming in from Karnataka. 2 FIRs have been filed against Karnataka Congress leader Rajiv Gora in Shidlaghata for his threats and abuse. Sri Lakshmi, my colleague, is now joining us for more details on this story. Sri Lakshmi, there is an audio clip that has gone viral wherein we can hear him speak and abuse and threaten. Now we understand the 2 FIRs have been filed against him, but there are political parties, the opposition parties, that are demanding Rajiv Gora's expulsion. What more details can you provide us?
Well, Shivangi, the incident reportedly has taken place on Tuesday. It's been 4 days that the incident has happened. Yet, 2 FIRs have been filed against Rajiv Gowda. Still, Rajiv Gowda was not been arrested by the police. The big question at this point of time is who is protecting Congress leader Rajiv Gowda? Because, as you rightly pointed out, National Women's Commission has, referred to take action against him. State Women's Commission has written a letter to Shidlaghata SP to take action against him. Now, Karnataka Home Minister Dr. G. Parmeshwar is saying that yes, he has committed a mistake, but police are after him. But the arrest has not yet happened yet. On part of government, it shows the sheer irresponsibility and disrespect towards women officers who are there in Karnataka. The incident has happened on Tuesday evening when an event was held to promote a Kannada film Halt, starring Zaid Khan, son of Housing Minister Zamir Ahmad Khan. And flexes of these films were put on all over the Shidlaghata city without taking proper permissions from the municipal corporation. And for that reason, Municipal Commissioner Amrita Gowda had vacated all those flexes. This was the issue. And this Rajiv Gowda spoke to her and abused her, used obscene language against her and threatened her. And he has also spoke, using obscene language, and life threat was given to her by this Rajiv Gowda. Yet no arrest of Rajiv Gowda. The big question Republic Kannada is asking now is why Rajiv Gowda has not been arrested yet. Shidlaghata police have come to Sanjay Nagar residence of Rajiv Gowda, but he was not there. Police and Home Minister are saying that he has absconded. There's a doubt against Food Minister Muniappa that he's protecting this Rajiv Gowda, but why Karnataka police are not arresting him yet is a big question at this point of time. Is there any protection to female officers in the state or not is the big question, Shivangi.
Right. Sri Lakshmi, stay with us. We'll just come back to you because we have more breaking news coming in related to this incident. And we understand, of course, now the 2 FIRs have been filed against him. But Rajiv Gora has gone absolutely absconding. He has gone missing. And this after FIRs were filed against him in Shidlaghata for threats and abuse. Now there are political parties, the opposition parties, demanding his expulsion from the Congress party. The Congress party has, of course, issued a show-cause notice, but the opposition is demanding that he be expelled from the party. Meanwhile, as the FIRs have been filed, he has gone missing. He has absconded. Nobody knows where he is. Let's go back to Sri Lakshmi. Sri Lakshmi, now, that is a big question that, the opposition parties is also asking that despite those FIRs being filed against him, why the police has not been able to arrest him. And at the same time, he has gone absconding. He has gone missing.
Yes. Even Congress party leaders, some of them have written a letter to DCM DK Shivkumar claiming that this Rajiv Gowda needs to be expelled out of the party because the language which he has used against this officer is not totally undefendable. The complaints against him also claims that the caller used obscene and abusive words against local MLA B.N. Ravikumar as well, and made remarks indirectly targeting district in charge minister MC Sudhakar as well. So many things have been written in the complaint, and KPCC, he was also identified as KPCC state coordinator, and he is defeated a Congress candidate from Shidlaghatta Assembly constituency for 2023 elections. Now the big question is, it's been 4 days after the incident. Still, no action against him by the Congress party. Why is that so? And who is protecting Rajiv Gowda even after these many allegations against him? Back to studio.
Right. And Sri Lakshmi, I would also like to understand from you that, you know, while he was threatening and abusing this woman officer, the big question is that what exactly was his problem? What is his allegations are?
He wanted to promote Zaid Khan, Minister Zamir Ahmad Khan's son Zaid Khan's film Cult. For that promotion event from his side, he had put so many flexes all over the city, and without taking any permission from the municipal corporation. And municipal corporation commissioner Amrita Gowda had vacated all those flexes for not being taken proper permissions from the municipal corporation. That itself is the issue, and just for that reason, he called up Amrita Gowda and used abusive languages, gave life threat to her, and abused many leaders, many local leaders over there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sri Lakshmi, for getting us all those updates there. All right. All right, viewers, we have more breaking news coming in. Let's move on to the next breaking news, and this is related to Indian Open that has been marred by controversy. Indian Open has been marred by controversy with the latest incident involving pigeon droppings halting the women's doubles semi-final match between Dan Ning and Liu Shengshu and Korea's Baek Hana and Lee So-hee at Indira Gandhi Stadium. Now, this is not an isolated incident, as earlier HS Pranoy's pre-quarter-final match was also disrupted twice due to bird droppings. The stadium's poor conditions, including garbage, Japan stains, cigarette butts, monkeys, stray dogs, have sparked outrage, with players like Mia Blichfeld criticizing the unacceptable and highly unprofessional environment. The Badminton World Federation has also acknowledged the issue and stated that the Indira Gandhi Sports Complex is an upgrade from the previous venue, but it still requires attention to cleanliness, hygiene, animal control. The sports minister's silence on the matter has added to the controversy, with the politicians like Abhishek Manu Singhvi as well as Priyanka Chaturvedi calling for better infrastructure and governance. So India Open yet again marred by a controversy, and this is the latest incident that has involved pigeon droppings, which has halted the women's doubles semi-final match. Ishan, my colleague, is now joining us live from the national capital for more details. Ishan, India Open continuously being marred into controversy, one issue or the other. Sometimes it is the monkeys, then it is the cleanliness issue, and now these bird droppings are halting the match in the women's semi-final. What do the authorities say?
The authorities have not yet issued an official statement. We have been constantly reaching out to them for the same. We are seeing that this incident has definitely marred the image of India's national and international matches that are being held over here. We can clearly see that the incident is not an isolated incident but a series of incidents. Earlier also we saw that the men's doubles matches had to be stopped, and the Danish player had complained to the Indian authorities stating that it is an irreprehensible situation where he was forced to stop the match twice due to pigeon droppings on the court, and that caused a situation where the match was rendered unplayable. After that, we also saw incidents where monkeys were seen in the stands roaming around freely. And now this recent incident where an entire bird's nest fell onto the court during a match, and the referee had to stop the match to ensure that the court is cleaned before the match can proceed further. The Chinese world number 1 duo that was playing against the Korean team during this match had to stop the match, and during the match it was a 6-2 match before and after that. So somehow these incidents have not only been affecting the morale of the players but also affecting the image of India as a nation to host these world level events. So the authorities need to completely wake up and take responsibility and ensure that no such incidents happens in the future. Back to you.
Right. Anishan, as far as the Indian Badminton, Association is concerned, there have been several officials who have been saying that, this is something that is, not really, you cannot have control over these issues, especially the issue of, bird droppings that the concern. Now, some of the officials are saying it was not a bird poop, but, some nest droppings that, interrupted the match. And sometimes it is not really easy to control those situations. But there are other issues, that really need the authorities to answer, especially the issues of, cleanliness and hygiene.
Absolutely. The Indira Gandhi International Stadium was renovated recently and is supposed to be a world-class stadium. However, we have seen several issues here. The toilets over here are absolutely unusable. The surrounding areas have not been cleaned properly, and we can see multiple places where garbage has piled up, and monkeys, dogs and other vermin such as rats have been moving around the stadium, and we have seen several instances of that as well. So this entire situation comes back to the point that the authorities cannot pass the blame that these situations are not controllable, because stadiums like this have been maintained across the world and cannot be ensured to say that it is a simple issue and it needs to be resolved by the authorities. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ishan, for getting us those updates there on that big story. So questions continue on the India Open's ability to really host an international international tournament like that, with several players, not only from the world over, but also Indian players as well, questioning a lot of infrastructure issues within at the Indira Gandhi Stadium there. All right, viewers, let's move on to the bulletin now. Big story from West Bengal. A massive protest in the state's Beldaga has, and that over the alleged killing of a migrant worker has rapidly spiraled into violence, paralyzing rail and road networks. So what began as a local agitation has now triggered serious security concerns, with the strategic routes blocked as well as police action as delayed. Questions are being raised as to the state's mobocracy. This unrest unfolds at a sensitive time, raising alarms about its wider impact on national security and connectivity to the northeast. Take a look at our report.
Unrest grips West Bengal's Murshidabad district. This is as protests erupt in Murshidabad over the alleged murder of migrant worker Alauddin Sheikh from Jharkhand. Hundreds of locals gathered on a highway at Barua More in Bildanga, bringing traffic on NH12 to a standstill and triggering long queues of stranded vehicles. And the NH12 is a key highway, a major route that connects to Chicken's Neck of the Siliguri corridor. Sheikh's family, accompanied by locals as part of the protests, have also damaged the Seldar railway division track at Beldanga, set tires ablaze and have even taken to sleeping on tracks in attempts to disrupt the train services. Visuals also arose of stones being pelted by the mob of protesters.
দেশের ভবিষ্যৎ এরা বুঝতে পারছো, এই দেখছো ট্রেন ওরা কিরকম অবরোধ করতে হয় এরা জানে। এই ছোট ছোট ছেলেবেলাই বস্তা বস্তা করে পাথর লেগে রেল লাইন কিরকম আটকে রেখে দিয়েছে। এই যে এই ভাইটা পরশুদিনকে মেরে গলায় দড়ি দিয়ে এই যে রাস্তায় ফেলে রেখে গেছে। বুঝতে পারলে তোমরা বেশি বেশি করে শেয়ার করো, সবাই বেড়ে নেওয়া চলেছে রাস্তা অবরোধ করার জন্য। দেশের ভবিষ্যৎ এরা বুঝতে পারছো, এই দেখছো ট্রেন ওরা কিরকম অবরোধ করতে হয় এরা জানে। এই ছোট ছোট ছেলেবেলাই বস্তা বস্তা করে পাথর লেগে রেল লাইন কিরকম আটকে রেখে দিয়েছে। এই যে এই ভাইটা পরশুদিনকে মেরে গলায় দড়ি দিয়ে এই যে রাস্তায় ফেলে রেখে গেছে। বুঝতে পারলে তোমরা বেশি বেশি করে শেয়ার করো, সবাই বেড়ে নেওয়া চলেছে রাস্তা অবরোধ করার জন্য। দেশের ভবিষ্যৎ এরা বুঝতে পারছো, এই দেখছো ট্রেন ওরা কিরকম অবরোধ করতে হয় এরা জানে। এই ছোট ছোট ছেলেবেলাই বস্তা বস্তা করে পাথর লেগে রেল লাইন কিরকম আটকে রেখে দিয়েছে। এই যে এই ভাইটা পরশুদিনকে মেরে গলায় দড়ি দিয়ে এই যে রাস্তায় ফেলে রেখে গেছে। বুঝতে পারলে তোমরা বেশি বেশি করে শেয়ার করো, সবাই বেড়ে নেওয়া চলেছে রাস্তা অবরোধ করার জন্য।
It took about 48 hours for the police to have finally taken action in response to the protests. Locals reported that the police beat and charged the agitators at a few places to disperse the crowd as they commenced their crackdown on the Beldanga protesters. All of this amidst the Prime Minister's visit to the state. Allegations arise from the BJP as to this unrest and mobocracy being an attempt of CM Mamata Banerjee to turn Bengal into Bangladesh. All eyes remain on West Bengal as to how it navigates the aftermath of the migrant killing, consequent protests and unrest, and the delayed action from state and security authorities.
All right, big story from Maharashtra. A political power struggle is brewing within the ruling Mahayuti alliance after its sweeping victory in the Brihan-Mumbai Municipal Corporation elections. Even as the BJP Shiv Sena alliance celebrated its mandate, cracks have begun to surface over the coveted post of Mumbai mayor. As per sources, now according to sources, Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena has taken claim to the mayor's post and proposing a split-term formula and demanding the position for the first 2.5 years of the 5-year term. For now, Shinde's show of strength is being seen as a tactical move to increase bargaining power with the BJP, even as the final call is expected to rest with the BJP High Command. More in this report.
After a sweeping victory for the BJP Sena's Mahayuti in the BMC polls in Maharashtra, Mumbai is witnessing power play and hotel politics as Shiv Sena has moved all its newly elected corporators in a hotel in Bandra. The real power tussle has begun, with Shinde Sena demanding the mayor post in India's richest municipal corporation as per sources. As per a report, tensions have emerged within the BJP Shiv Sena alliance. The Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena has proposed a split-term formula demanding the Mumbai mayor's position for at least the first 2.5 years of the 5-year term. Shinde sees this as a befitting tribute to Shiv Sena's founder Bal Thackeray on his 100th birthday on January 23rd. While the BJP has emerged as the single largest party with 89 seats, the Shinde faction with 29 seats is positioning itself as a kingmaker.
शिवसेना सिंधे गुट के नगर सेवकों और नेताओं ने यह भी इच्छा जताई है कि मुंबई में 2.5 साल के लिए महापौर का पद दिया जाए, यानी 2.5 साल के लिए बीजेपी से महापौर हो और 2.5 साल के लिए यहां पर एकनाथ शिंदे वाली शिवसेना के महापौर हो। एक मसला ये है सूत्रों के हवाले से। दूसरा मसला ये भी है सूत्रों के हवाले से कि मुंबई में अगर बीजेपी के महापौर बनाए जाते हैं और उप महापौर शिवसेना सिंधे गुट के होंगे तो दूसरी तरफ ठाणे में शिवसेना शिंदे गुट के महापौर हो जाए और बीजेपी के उप महापौर हो जाए। अब इन दोनों मसलों को लेकर रिसोर्ट पॉलिटिक्स की बात सामने आ रही है, खींचतान का माहौल है। अब एक बार आपको 2019 याद होगा, महाराष्ट्र की सियासत में एक बड़ा टर्निंग पॉइंट, उसके बाद 2022 जून और जुलाई का महीना आपको याद होगा कि किस तरीके से एकनाथ शिंदे गुवाहाटी चले गए थे और रिसोर्ट पॉलिटिक्स की एक तस्वीर सामने आई थी। लेकिन एक बार फिर बीएमसी चुनावी नतीजों के बाद रिसोर्ट पॉलिटिक्स की वापसी की खबर सामने आ रही है है। सूत्रों की तरफ से जो दावे किए जा रहे हैं, जो बातें कही जा रही हैं, अगर उनमें सच्चाई है तो एक बड़ी गहमा गहमी की तस्वीर नजर आएगी। लेकिन इन सब के बीच निश्चित तौर पर अगर हम एक जुमले का जिक्र करें खुल्ला खेल फर्रुखाबादी, तो वो लगता है कि शुरू हो गया है। तोड़फोड़ का डर भी है और तोड़फोड़ से रोकने की कोशिश भी। और यही वजह है कि महाराष्ट्र की सियासत वक्त के साथ दिलचस्प मोड़ लेती हुई नजर आ रही है। ये तस्वीरें हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं मुंबई के ताज होटल की, और यहीं पर कहा जा रहा है कि तमाम नगर सेवकों को जो जीते हुए हैं उन्हें लेकर एक शिंदे की पार्टी जो है यहाँ पर आ सकती है।
This week on Get Me Right is Somnath Swabhiman Parv, marking 1000 years of the attack by Mahmud of Ghazni, the culmination of a battle of narratives that started with the coming to power of Narendra Modi as Prime Minister in 2014. Also this week, India reached the world with Responsible Nations Index, RNI, our very own rating system that will judge nations based on Indian yardsticks and not that of Moody's and Fitch. And has Donald Trump got it all wrong with tariffs, as India's exports to the United States continue to rise and China records its highest trade surplus in history with over US $1.2 trillion. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, only on Republic TV.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ, 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
Iran is boiling. Iranians are protesting against the Khamenei regime. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Iranians to keep protesting and take over institutions, and has assured them that help is on the way.
Well, no, they're starting to, it looks like, and there seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets that they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये हित तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
Iran is boiling. Iranians are protesting against the Khamenei regime. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Iranians to keep protesting and take over institutions, and has assured them that help is on the way.
Well, no, they're starting to, it looks like, and there seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets that they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. And they won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made this.
Hi there, welcome back to your favorite deep dive show on stories contemporary and consequential for India. This week we picked three, two domestic and one from foreign affairs. First up, ever wondered how the markets reacted to Moody's downgrades of India in the early years of liberalization? Those ratings agencies acted as a Damocles sword on our economy and a geopolitical weapon to control India's march to progress, as also that of the developing world. Now India is hitting back with a rating system of its own. We take a look. Second, has Donald Trump overplayed the tariff card? As he completes 1 year in office as President of the United States during his second term, what lessons we have from the trade data? And finally, a battle of narratives in which we focused on the Nehru in JNU last week takes us to Somnath this episode. How Prime Minister Modi is setting things right, as in from left of center to right of center, as a national mission. Let's get going. More people searched for the Somnath temple on Google this week than all of the last 20 years. That's the kind of impact Prime Minister Narendra Modi's brainwave of marking 1,000 years of the attack on the temple by Mahmud of Ghazni as Swabhiman Parv, festival of self-respect, had on the masses. The historical site, sacred to a great mass of Hindus, saw repeated attacks and reconstructions over the millennia. And the Swabhiman Parv marked the first major recorded attack in 1026 by Mahmud. Now, nobody denies the historicity of those attacks. After Mahmud destroyed the temple built by the Solanki king Mularaj in 1026 Common Era, there was another round of demolition that Somnath faced at the hands of Alaf Khan, a general of Alauddin Khilji in 1299. Subsequently, Muzaffar Khan, a governor of Gujarat, desecrated the same temple in 1394. Sultan Mahmud Begra in 1459, and then during the Mughal reign of Aurangzeb, Somnath was ordered demolished thrice in 1669, 1702 and 1706, by which time it was almost turned into a mosque. This repeated destruction should ideally be seen as evidence of kind of repeated reconstruction that was done by the Hindus over all these years and centuries. But that's where history writing comes into play. Last episode, I narrated how JNU became a left bastion by design and not default. India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, willed the intellectual spaces of India, from university campuses to the bureaucracy to the cultural institutions, to be filled with left-of-center ideologues, thus providing an inexhaustible supply of talent for his socialist governance. A product of that was history writing, which doctored a sanitized past of India, where either no brutal attacks on our civilization, the likes of which Somnath and Nalanda faced, happened, or if those attacks had to be acknowledged, the scale of destruction and their motivation in the iconoclasm of medieval Islam had to be muted. Enter Romila Thapar, a professor emeritus of JNU. Yes, the same JNU we discussed. She is variously described as a celebrated historian or doyen of Indian historians, who as recently as 2023 wrote a book on Somnath. This is what she writes. In 1026, Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni raided the Hindu temple of Somnath. The story of the raid has reverberated in Indian history, but largely during the Raj. It was first depicted as a trauma for the Hindu population, not in India, but in the House of Commons in London. This is according to Thapar. The triumphalist accounts of the event in Turco-Persian chronicles became the main source for most of the 18th century historians. It suited everyone and helped the British to divide and rule the subcontinent. That's what Thapar says. For her, the temple was destroyed by Mahmud in search of a medieval Arab goddess, Manat, and not because he saw in Somnath a symbol of Hindu civilizational pride. She further says in the book that the temple was rebuilt by Kumarpal as per some Jain chronicles, not because it was destroyed by Mahmud of Ghazni, but because of the corroding effect of the seas, because of which the temple lay in a dilapidated state. Such chicanery of words, and guess what? The likes of Thapar made a lifetime, complete with Padma Awards, out of this intellectual dishonesty, courtesy Nehru's patronage. Pandit Nehru himself was so discomfited by the reconstruction imagined by Sardar Patel, supervised by Kanhaiya Lal Munshi and blessed by the then President Rajendra Prasad, that he wrote as many as 17 letters marking his opposition to the Somnath project. In one cribbing apologia to Liaquat Ali Khan, the then Prime Minister of Pakistan, for example, Panditji protested that Pakistani radio was speaking of doors of the Somnath temple being brought to India from Afghanistan, while there was no truth to the story. Guess what? Maybe it did not happen immediately after independence. But Romila Thapar, the same protege of Nehru, narrates in her latest book about the episode of the doors brought back from Ghazni to Agra during the British times in the 2023 book. Yes, such charade we have lived through. Or look at this letter that Nehru wrote to the All India Radio instructing the toning down of the coverage of the consecration event in 1951 that Rajendra Babu attended despite protests by the Prime Minister. Or these two letters written by Nehru to the chief ministers, dated May 2 and August 1, 1951, in which he hems and haws, literally, about the bad image of India the presence of his ministers would create abroad by being present there at the consecration ceremony of Somnath temple. Guess what? Nehru did not want to get the optics wrong then, just as Modi did not want to get the optics wrong now. Only the audiences are different. For Nehru, the audience was the Islamic world in West Asia and the Muslim population back home. For Modi, the audience is Hindu and at home. Irony is that Modi has been bestowed the highest civilian honors by at least a dozen Islamic nations, including Saudi Arabia, the custodian of the two holy mosques of Islam. The fact is, they care two hoots about India's internal politics so long as principles of natural justice and good governance are followed. They would not have cared then also, in Nehru's times. Just that it was only in Nehru's mind that the reconstruction of Somnath conflated with secularism and not reclamation of India's civilizational pride. Modi has corrected that wrong. That takes us to another wrong Prime Minister Modi is correcting, subtly, slowly, but surely. For those who came of age through campuses during India's early liberalization years, the terror of credit rating agencies would be sort of fresh in the minds. They literally determined our collective destinies by throwing up jumbled soup of alphabets. If you were AAA or AAA, you were in the elite company of Western nations. And the global financial establishment looked at you with benign indulgences, like cheap capital. If you were BB or worse, junk, your goose as an economy was cooked, which happened with India a couple of times with ratings downgrades through the 1990s and 2000s. Despite our size and scale, we were helpless. We did not control the process or the product. Like India, rest of the non-Western world, increasingly called Global South these days, was a mute spectator to a few deciding the fate of the many. Not anymore. There's a pushback. This coming week, India is launching its own yardstick to judge the rest of the world. It's going to be called RNI, Responsible Nations Index. Not exactly similar as the financial ratings, but that's the whole debate. Who gets to decide where you stand in the Committee of Nations? Let me first dig a little deeper into the existing system. Going back to the end of the World War II and the setting up of the Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, the framework cast US hegemony in stone with dollar as the default reserve currency of the world pegged to the gold, and the transatlantic Western Bloc acting as its guarantor. Metrics like the GDP growth, debt to GDP ratio and inflation became the universal yardsticks of judging a country's credit worthiness. So far, so good. By the 1970s, 3 private agencies monopolized the game. Recall how the mood of the Moody's, standards of S&P or Standard & Poor, or fiddling by Fitch, all 3 US-based, in the case of Fitch, French-owned, would determine the cost of borrowing for nations including India. The big 3 came to dominate almost 100% of the world ratings market by the turn of the century. There's a template of cognitive bias. The big 3 in tandem with the IMF and the World Bank, between them enforce Western ideals. Cut welfare, privatize, open markets, or face higher costs. This essentially became a system like a straw sucking savings from the Global South, funding consumption in the Global North, even as the Global South borrowed back at premiums dictated by the same biased ratings. It's a rigged game where ratings act as enforcers, limiting sovereignty and perpetuating inequality. Investors treated ratings as gospel. Pension funds and banks face mandates to favor high-rated bonds. Post-Cold War, that is in the 1990s and thereafter, ratings became a geopolitical weapon to align developing states with Western agendas. Argentina's 2001 default followed repeated downgrades amid IMF austerity clashes, crippling recovery. Greece's 2010 debt crisis saw agencies amplify Eurozone woes, pressuring Athens towards privatization. During the 2016 Brexit, while the S&P did downgrade the UK mildly, it hammered Brazil over impeachment, essentially a political process. Venezuela, Russia, Iran, the list is endless. Over time, the biases stood exposed. Emerging markets got harsher treatment than advanced economies, even when fundamentals were similar. It's not just numbers, it's control. During the turn of the century, Asian financial crisis, for example, the S&P downgraded countries en masse, triggering capital flight and deepening the mess. Similarly, during the COVID-19 pandemic years, 95% of the downgrades hit only developing countries, despite milder economic hits than in the West. Why? Geopolitical proximity, cultural biases, and information asymmetries favor the global north. Now the world's reacting, and BRICS is a leading example or leading the charge, calling out the ratings terrorism of the West during the 2024 Kazan summit. Their new development bank, launched in 2014, offers loans without the IMF's harsh conditions, funding infrastructure in local currencies to dodge dollar traps. Guess what? Such is the terror of the existing arrangement, even now that the NDB has to comply with sanctions on Russia. But that only proves the point. No more passive acceptance of Western models. Russia, post-2014 sanctions, created the National Rating Agency. China launched Dagong, rating itself AAA. That's where RNI, Responsible Nations Index of India, comes into the picture. A brainchild of Prime Minister Narendra Modi as part of his larger push for Atmanirbharta and shedding of colonial mindset. Why let a declining West dictate the agenda? Look at the matrix. The RNI would be structured around three core dimensions. One, internal responsibility focusing on dignity, justice, and the well-being of citizens. Two, environmental responsibility covering stewardship of natural resources and climate action. And three, external responsibility measuring a country's contribution to peace, cooperation, and global stability. Does not sound like GDP, debt, etc. But that's the whole point. How do you judge India's Operation Maitri, for example, when we supplied COVID vaccines to the rest of the world? That's where responsibility as a member of the Committee of Nations comes in. Should it not get reflected in ratings? Fitch and Moody's won't. So let's do it on our own, our way. The index or the RNI would cover 154 countries and is built on transparent, globally sourced data to ensure credibility and comparability. JNU and IIM Mumbai have provided institutional support. The RNI would be India's first globally anchored framework to evaluate countries on responsible governance, social well-being, environmental stewardship, and global responsibility. The initiative aims to encourage global dialogue on ethics, sustainability, food security, and value-based leadership, contributing to a more balanced understanding of national performance on the global stage. The geopolitics of rating nations is all set to change. Wait till Monday. Moving on to the last segment.
This bill would allow...
And India also is bullying.
Yes, sir. So he put a 25% tariff on India for buying Russian oil. I was at the Indian ambassador's house about a month ago, and all he wanted to talk about is how they're buying less Russian oil. Would you tell the president to relieve the tariff? I really do believe that what he did with India is the chief reason India is now buying substantially less Russian oil. So I hope we pass this bill soon. And after
They wanted to make me happy, basically. He wanted to, Modi's a very good man.
Yes.
He's a good guy. He knew I was not happy. And it was important to make me happy. They do trade. And we can raise tariffs on them very quickly, and it would be very bad for them.
It's been a year of tariffs, but tariffs as Donald Trump completes one as President of the United States next week in his second term. But reports and numbers on the trade front are not what the Trumpist stars or the mega supporters of Trump would have loved to hear. India's merchandise exports to the US during April-December period saw an almost 10% jump, rising to approximately $66 billion, compared to $60 billion in the previous year. In the month of November itself, the year-on-year increase was a whopping 22% at $7 billion. Even with punitive tariffs in place, industries like electronics, which are up 16%, marine products up 11%, pharmaceuticals up 5%, and engineering goods stayed strong. Overall exports also showed a rising clip of 5%. In December of last year, that is 2025, India's overall merchandise exports reached $38.5 billion, a 2 percentage point increase year on year. And the 9-month cumulative exports edged 3% to $330 billion. India's export surge defies the odds. Weren't we supposed to fold under Trump's reciprocal hammer? Instead, Indian shipments of pharma, electronics, textiles, and rice to the US grew steadily, even as duties bit into margins, of course. Why? Diversification and niches. Pharma dodged full hits due to essential status. Electronics filled the void left by China, and rice carved a premium lane despite existing tariffs. There's more to the story. While India's US export dependence dipped slightly from 23 to 20%, which means we diversified, Absolute volumes rose as American buyers sought alternatives to pricier Chinese products. And even as our manufacturing edge shone through, India upped its game. Last year saw at least half a dozen FTAs getting signed from New Zealand to UAE to the UK and Oman, plus the European Economic Community. Trade deals with Canada and the EU are close. All this offsets the US friction. This resilience suggests a few takeaways. Indian exporters shifted strategies, seeking tariff exemptions, pivoting to less targeted sectors, and reinforcing global supply chain linkages. Indian smartphones found new markets like Slovakia, Israel, Latvia, Vietnam, South Korea, among others. So while tariffs might have slowed growth in targeted categories, they did not derail India's broader export strength to the US, arguably one of the signature goals of Trump's strategy. The aim was ambitious so far as Trump is concerned: shield the US manufacturing, rebalance trade deficits, and coax partners into fairer deals. But the India story proves otherwise. And that's still not the complete picture. Look at China and you realize the gaping hole in Trump's strategy. Despite facing intense US tariffs of up to 47.5%, China recorded a jaw-dropping global trade surplus of US $1.2 trillion. That colossal surplus reflected not just resilience, but strategic adaptation. Chinese manufacturers sidestepped US tariffs by boosting exports to ASEAN, up 13%, Africa up 26%, Latin America up 7%, and the EU up 8%. Domestic policies and a weakened yuan made Chinese goods cheaper abroad. Taken together, these trends paint a picture of limited leverage for Team Trump. India weathered the storm by channeling growth through resilient sectors and supply chain flexibility. China simply rerouted its trade and expanded it elsewhere. There's another interesting takeaway. The Kazan reset with China that India had is paying off. Our merchandise exports to China in the last 6 months of 2025 versus 2024 grew 37%, $14 plus billion versus 10.42 billion. China recorded notably higher Indian imports, with electronics and engineering goods seeing sizable increases. So Washington needs to take note. I spoke to a Commerce Ministry official part of the trade negotiations some time back, and if I rephrase his anecdotal account of the difference between American and European strategies when it comes to negotiating the trade deal, it comes down to one word: flexibility. Like the EU officials were comfortable to take agriculture off the table so that talks could proceed. Unlike in the case of the United States, where stalemate is centered around the GM crops and the dairy sector. Also, and that's a big factor, the official told me that he sensed that the American team came with a strong brief but limited freedom in terms of give and take. Obviously, because everything has to go right up to the top, to the White House. Why have tariffs seemingly failed? For one, substitution effect. Tariffs create vacuums that others fill. Basic economics Trump overlooked. As Chinese goods got pricier, India ramped up low-cost alternatives like generic drugs, replacing pricier Chinese APIs, or textiles dodging full steel aluminum add-ons. US importers did not reshore, they swapped suppliers, keeping trade volumes high. Data shows only 17 of the 57 targeted nations cut deals with Trump, leaving heavyweights like India and China defiant. Meanwhile, US manufacturing jobs flatlined. Tariffs raised input costs for autos and tech, killing almost 100,000 positions as per some estimates, as firms passed hikes to buyers amid 2025's inflation bout. US consumers paid anything between $200 to $500 more yearly per household, as per some think tanks. Long-term US GDP looks like taking a 0.5 percentage point or even 1 percentage point hit from disrupted supply chains. The Venezuela, Greenland, Iran headlines could be planned distractions for these reasons ahead of the midterm elections. And then there are the geopolitical costs. India's is the most classic case of standing up to Trump's tariff bullying. Well, not just tariffs, but the Pakistan pivot also, that has put the larger India-United States relationship into a downward spiral that would not be easy for just Sergio Gore, the new US ambassador to India, to retrieve. Prime Minister Modi has earned plaudits from around the world to have managed the friction with Trump so well, even as leaders around the world, particularly in Europe, seem to be capitulating. This is an evolving story and we shall keep coming back to it. Thanks for watching.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड। अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
Iran is boiling. Iranians are protesting against the Khamenei regime. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Iranians to keep protesting and take over institutions, and has assured them that help is on the way.
Well, no, they're starting to, it looks like, and there seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets that they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before, and they won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very, very hard where it hurts. So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it.
U.S. has proven its military capacity in Operation Midnight Hammer, where the United States military bombed Iran's nuclear facilities. U.S. B-2 stealth bombers, which flew a secretive and historic long-range mission, dropped 14 massive ordnance.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and get ready for another edition of India's upcoming Future AI Summit. Now we're looking at, in fact, Republic hosting this AI Summit. Republic Media Network proudly is going to present you the future of artificial intelligence. And in fact, the Republic AI Summit and Awards 2026, a powerful convergence of technology leaders, innovators and visionaries is shaping India's AI journey. Now, centered on the theme Cracking India's AI Code, the summit will spotlight bold ideas, responsible innovation and breakthrough leadership driving India's AI ambitions. Now, the day culminates with the Republic AI Awards 2026, honoring excellence and impact across the AI ecosystem. So, catch us live on January 19th, 2026 as India's AI future takes center stage only on Republic TV. Trump imposes a 10% additional tariff on 8 NATO nations, sending troops to Greenland for surveillance missions starting February 1st. West Bengal, a leader of opposition Suvendu Adhikari writes to governor, demands deployment of central paramilitary forces in violence-hit Murshidabad. India seeks early consular access for 16 Indian crew members detained by Iran. Eknath Shinde moves Sena corporators to a hotel amid fears of poaching and battle for BMC's mayoral post. PM to lay foundation stone for Kaziranga Elevated Corridor project worth over rupees 6,950 crore in Assam's Kalyabor. Women's doubles semi-final match at India Open between comes to a halt because of pigeon poop incident at Indira Gandhi Stadium. Alright, viewers, beginning with breaking news coming from Karnataka. Congress leader Rajiv Gowda is facing backlash after allegedly abusing and threatening Shidlagata Municipal Commissioner Amrita Gowda over the removal of promotional banners, which were in fact starring the son of Housing Minister B.S. Zamir Ahmed. Remember, several days even after FIR was registered against him, he's still absconding, and the incident has now sparked outrage with the opposition parties, BJP and JDS demanding strict action against him. Now, viewers, in an audio clip, Gowda is heard using swear words and even threatening to set fire to the municipal office and incite riots if his demands of reinstating the banners are not met. The commissioner has now filed a police complaint and Gowda has been booked under various sections of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. The Congress party, meanwhile, has issued a show-cause notice to Gowda asking him to explain his actions. But of course, there's growing pressure on the party for his expulsion. The incident has rightly drawn contempt and also outrage from women organizations and the National Commission for Women as well. Remember, it is a woman officer just performing her duty, removing the unauthorized banners. And then this Congress, in fact, worker comes out and abuses, threatens this municipal officer.
Hello? Hello?
ಹಲೋ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಅದು ಬ್ಯಾನರ್ ಬಿಚ್ಚಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಅದು ಒಂದ್ ಬ್ಯಾನರು ಆ ರೋಡ್ ಕೋಟೆದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ರಂತೆ. ಅದೇನೋ ಗಾಡಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಗುದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾರೋ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ಅಪ್ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ, ಸರ್ ಒಂಚೂರು ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಬ್ಯಾನರ್ ಏನೋ ಬಿಚ್ಚಿದಿರಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬಂದ್ ಬೆಂಕಿ ಹಚ್ಚಿಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಇನ್ನ ಒಳ್ಳೆತನ ನೋಡಿದಿರಿ, ಕೆಟ್ಟತನ ನೋಡಿಲ್ಲ
ಸರ್. ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ, ಬ್ಯಾನರ್ ಬಿಚ್ಚಿಬಿಟ್ಟದು ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಸರ್, ಅದನ್ನ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತೆ.
ತರ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಬೇಡಿ ನನ್ಗೆ
ಸರ್. ಒಂದ್ ನಿಮಿಷ ಕೇಳಿ, ಅದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಇಂದ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ.
ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾನರ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕೀಳ್ತೀರಿ?
ಬ್ಯಾನರ್ ಕಿತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ತೆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದು ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್. ನೀವ್ ಹಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬೇಡಿ, ಅದ್ ನಮ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಗಳು ಬಿಚ್ಚಿರೋದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತೆಗ್ದಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದನ್ನ
ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ. ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ನಾಳೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಓಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ತಾಲೂಕಾ ಕೆಲಸ.
ಸರ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಅವರು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಕೇಳಿ, ಏನು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಬ್ಯಾನರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗಲ್ ಕಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದ್ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗು ಕಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಮಧ್ಯ ರೋಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ.
ಒಂದ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ
ನೋಡಿ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಸರ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯೀಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ. ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಅವ್ರ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟೆ, ಅದು ತಗೊಂಡೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರು.
ಕಟ್ಟಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದಾರಲ್ಲ.
ಯಾರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್? ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಲೆಟರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ವಿ ಆರ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮವ್ರು ಜೈಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಸ್ಟಾಫ್ಸ್ ಗಳು.
ಇರೋದ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಬಂದ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಎಬ್ಬರ್ಸ್ತೀನಿ ಜನನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಹೊಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಚಪ್ಲಿಲಿ ಹೊಡಿಸ್ಕೊಬೇಕು
ಸರ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಕಟ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಮಿಡಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ತಗೋತಾರೆ? ಅದನ್ನ
ಇದೆಯಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ? ಎಲ್ಲ 31 ವಾರ್ಡ್ ಏನೇನು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿದೆ, ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವಾರ್ಡಿಂದ ಎಬ್ಬರ್ಸ್ತೀನಿ ದಂಗೆನ ಬಂದು ಹೊಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಚಪ್ಲಿಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಮನುಷ್ಯ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ 31 ವಾರ್ಡಿಂದ ಕರೆಸ್ತೀನಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ.
And now viewers, we also have some other breaking news coming in from Karnataka as well. It is not just an isolated incident that has taken place, because another woman officer was in fact threatened in the state. The BJP has now alleged it is a jungle raj under Siddaramaya's watch. The incident in fact took place in CM's home turf. We're talking about another woman officer getting threatened. In fact, death threats were issued against this officer during a land inspection exercise. And this is not an isolated incident that has taken place. First in Shidlagata and then in Siddaramaya's home turf. One after the other, we are witnessing incidents in Karnataka where women officers are getting abused. They are being issued death threats only for performing their job, doing their duty. Big question right now to ask, where is the law and order situation headed in Karnataka? And is the government not providing safe conditions for the women officers to perform their duties? Those are the big questions to ask at this point. As we reported, 2 incidents where women officers are getting death threats. They are being abused by several people. In fact, in one case, it is a political leader. In another case, it's a local rowdy who was involved in the incident. But of course, at the receiving end are the women officers who are just performing their duty. So that's the news of the hour, viewers. 2 incidents of women officers getting threatened and abused in Karnataka. All right, my colleague Sri Lakshmi is now joining me on this. Sri Lakshmi, do tell us about these 2 incidents that have been reported, first from Shidlagata and then from Siddaramaya's home turf. 2 women officers, but it is the same story. They are performing their job, but they get abused. They are issued death threats.
Yes, in the wake of these incidents, opposition leader R. Ashok has expressed his concerns in social media platform X, calling this Karnataka Congress government as a jungle raj because honest officers are not facing these abusive threats during the regime of this Congress government. This is the second such incident which has happened in Varuna constituency where CM Siddaramaiah comes from. There was a land of 20 acres was reserved for the construction of a hospital over there, and this lady rural officer of Bandipalya, Miss Bhavya, has visited this place for a survey procedure. And at that point of time, a rowdy sheeter threatens her and uses abusive language and even snatches her mobile, and later on she gives complaint. This is second such incident after Shiddlಘಟ್ಟ municipal commissioner got threatened, and that Rajiv Gowda has not been yet arrested, and even in this second incident also, this person called Puttaswamy, who has threatened this lady officer, has not been arrested yet. Just that FIR has been filed against him, but the actions have not been taken against him. Now the big question is whether these officials are safe during this Congress regime. Opposition BJP has raised similar concerns. R. Ashok also asked the government to take strict action against these goondas and political leaders. Back to studio.
Right, Sri Lakshmi, clearly, if this is the situation that women officers are dealing with, it is difficult to imagine what it would be like for, let's say, a woman who's not an officer, not in a position of power, just wants to work freely. But I want to ask you, clearly, Siddaramaiah is under fire on this. What are the political reactions we're getting on this?
As of now, no Congress leaders has given any reaction regarding this Mysore incident, which has happened at Siddaramaiah's village, Varuna village. But regarding Shiddlಘಟ್ಟ incident, leaders like Pradeep Ishwar and a few of them have reacted, saying that action will be taken against these Congress leaders. But as of now, no action has been taken. A few of Congress members have written a letter to D.K. Shivkumar as well, but no action has been taken currently. State Women's Commission has written a letter to Shiddlಘಟ್ಟ SP claiming to take action against this Congress leader, but as of now, no action has been taken. Even National Women's Commission has raised concerns, but Rajiv Gowda is absconding. It's been 4 days, and State Home Minister says that police are behind him, but no arrest yet. Why is the big question Republic Kannada is raising? Why is it so difficult to catch hold of this Rajiv Gowda, who is said to be the close aide of Food Minister Muniappa?
All right, Sri Lakshmi, thank you for giving us those details. We're also being joined by BJP's Sudha Halki on this. Do tell us what is your reaction on these couple of incidents being reported where women officers are getting abused in Karnataka. It seems there is no fear of law and order. In fact, can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I wanted to ask you, a couple of incidents being reported from Karnataka where women officers are getting abused just for performing their job. How do you look at this? It seems there is no fear of law and order.
Absolutely. There's a jungle raj going on over here in Karnataka under the Congress government, and there's absolutely collapse of law and order. And we have seen that, there's a vindictive politics over here where you can see a BJP karyakarta, Dalit Mahila, being abused. She's been taken off her clothes and beaten by the police. And at the same time, one more woman, for posting something in the social media, she has been filed, FIR has been filed against her. Whereas the police officers, the women officers have been abused in a very illogical way and unrespectful way, and the same action is not taken against these Congress leaders who are a part of this jungle raj. They are let free, they're absconding. I don't know how they can be absconding for 4 to 5 days. So they're absconding, and whereas the Mahila Karyakartas are being arrested over here. So this is a vindictive politics which is going on over here, and there's a jungle raj, and this is absolutely not accepted for a state which was once supposed to be a progressive state, and now it has become a Bihari state under this Congress government.
All right, BJP there alleging a jungle raj under Siddaramaiah. Thank you, Sudha Halki, for joining us on Republic. And now we are shifting focus to Northeast, where Prime Minister Modi is on a 2-day visit to Assam in his big Northeast push. Let's take a look.
আমি তেনেকৈ অসমীয়াই মৰণপণ যুঁজ দিবলৈ সাজু হৈছো। আজি অসমত পৰিৱৰ্তন হৈছে। এতিয়া আৰু কাজিৰঙাত কোনেও গড় হত্যা কৰিবলৈ সাহস কৰিব নোৱাৰে। আজি মোদী ডাঙৰীয়াৰ নেতৃত্বত আজি অসমীয়াই আত্মবিশ্বাসী হৈছে। শ্ৰদ্ধা ৰাইজ, এই 7,000 কোটি টকাৰ বিশাল এলিভেটেড কৰিডৰে যোৰহাট আৰু গুৱাহাটীৰ মাজত দূৰত্ব, গোলাঘাট আৰু গুৱাহাটীৰ মাজত দূৰত্ব 1 ঘণ্টা সময় কমাই পেলাব। ইজনক সিজনৰ ওচৰ চপাই লৈ যাব। এখন শক্তিশালী আমি অসম নিৰ্মাণ কৰিবলৈ সাহস পাম। যোৱাকালি কংগ্ৰেছ দলৰ এজন সাংসদে এই এলিভেটেড কৰিডৰক বিৰোধিতা কৰিছে। মই কংগ্ৰেছ দলৰ এই সাংসদ গৌৰৱ গগৈ ডাঙৰীয়াক ক'ব খোজো, আপুনি বিৰোধিতা কৰি থাকক, কিন্তু অসমে সপোন দেখিছে আকাশ চোৱাৰ, আৰু অসমে আকাশ চুবই, এই কথা মই আপোনাক স্পষ্টভাৱে ক'ব বিচাৰো। আজি অসমীয়াই কোনো পাকিস্তানৰ এজেণ্টৰ ওচৰত আত্মসমৰ্পণ নকৰে। আজি অসমীয়াই
never surrender to a Pakistani agent.
আত্মসমৰ্পণ নকৰে। অসমীয়াই অচিনাকি মানুহৰ মাটি উচ্ছেদ কৰি
Assamese will not surrender to any infiltrator. Assamese community will not surrender to the encroachers who had encroached land of Batadraba, Thar, the birthplace of Srimanta Shankardev.
নতুন অসমৰ স্বপ্ন এয়া হৈছে নতুন অসমৰ
We are committed to transform, and this is the dream of New Assam.
নেতৃত্বত আত্মবিশ্বাসী, অটল আৰু আমি অবিচল যে আমি অসমত
Today, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, we are determined and committed
সৰ্বশ্ৰেষ্ঠ
to
ৰাজ্য
make
হিচাপে
Assam
আমি অসমক প্ৰতিষ্ঠা কৰিম। শ্ৰদ্ধা ৰাইজ,
most developed state in Assam.
প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী ডাঙৰীয়াই অসমক আৰু এটা উপহাৰ দিলে।
Yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also gifted Assam
আজি আৰম্ভ কৰা
with
হৈছে, আৰু গুৱাহাটী
the Vande Bharat Sleeper Express
ইয়াক প্ৰথমবাৰৰ বাবে
between Guwahati and Kolkata.
যোৱাকালি প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী
For the first time in the country, the services has begun from Guwahati to Kolkata.
পবিত্ৰ মঞ্চৰ পৰাই আৰু
Today, again from this stage,
ৰেলৰ উদ্ঘাটন
we are witnessing the flagging off of 2 trains from Dibrugarh to Rohtak and one from Kamakhya to Rohtak.
3খনকৈ ৰেল উপহাৰ দিয়াৰ কাৰণে আমি প্ৰধানমন্ত্ৰী ডাঙৰীয়াক আকৌ এবাৰ ধন্যবাদ জনাইছো।
We would like to thank Prime Minister Narendra Modi for gifting us 3 trains.
ধন্যবাদ আৰু আমি কৃতজ্ঞতা জনাম। শ্ৰদ্ধা ৰাইজ, মোৰ ভাষা নাই। মই যেতিয়া মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী হৈছিলো, মই কল্পনা কৰা নাছিলো।
All right, viewers, now shifting focus. The Indian Open has been marred by controversy, with the latest, in fact, incident getting reported involving pigeon droppings, halting the women's doubles semi-final match between world number 1 Tan Ning and Liu Xingxu, and of course Korea's Bak Ha-na and Lee So-hee at Indira Gandhi Stadium. Now viewers, this is not an isolated incident. In fact, as earlier Republic also reported that several other incidents were also marred. In fact, there was a match that was also disrupted twice due to bird droppings. Now the stadium's poor conditions, including garbage, pan stains, cigarette butts, a monkey menace and even stray dogs, they have clearly sparked outrage, and rightly so, with players coming forward like Mia Blitchfield criticizing the unacceptable and highly unprofessional environment. Now the Badminton World Federation in fact has also acknowledged these issues, stating that the Indira Gandhi Sports Complex is an upgrade from previous venues but still requires attention to cleanliness, hygiene and animal control. Meanwhile, the sports minister silence on the matter has added to the controversy, with politicians like Abhishek Singhvi and Priyanka Chaturvedi calling for better infrastructure and governance. So clearly a national embarrassment, as the matches are now getting stalled at the stadium due to bird droppings. And our viewers, amid the controversy, the big question here arises as to why India must not host a CWG or Olympics. Now listen in to what Republic TV's Anab Goswami has said on the badminton embarrassment. Take a listen.
We say we want to hold the Olympics in India. Great, fantastic, big statement, lovely, must be lots of publicity. We say we are going to host the Commonwealth Games in India. Terrible idea because the Commonwealth itself as an idea is redundant. So I don't know why one would want to host the Commonwealth Games in India. I'm not for it. But even before we think or dream of hosting these tournaments, have a look at the visuals, ladies and gentlemen, on the sidelines of the 2026 India Open Badminton Tournament in New Delhi. This is it. We'll show these pictures. And these are visuals that have been put up by players. This is just months ahead of the World Badminton Championships to be held at the same venue in August. Monkeys are roaming around in the KD Jadhav Stadium in Delhi. And players from other countries, foreign countries, are showing these pictures and laughing about it. Yes, we are making a laughing stock of ourselves. Where is the sports minister? Why does the Union Sports Minister not talk about it? Where is the Badminton Association of India? When players talk about it, we'll have to show the reality. This is the reality inside the stadium where a global tournament is being held. Look at the piles and piles and piles of absolute dirt and garbage. Top seeded players across the world are saying, we don't want to play here. It's too dirty. This is not the way any country hosts a global tournament. It's very dirty. It's very unhealthy for all the players. And they're saying this is not the way any global player. And of course, stray dogs. What can we do in India without stray dogs? You know, Maneka Gandhi would love to help them around. They're just stray dogs, garbage, dirt and monkeys. What is this? Is this a zoo or a venue of a global tournament? It's all good to do, great marketing around things. But this is the reality. There are people who are pulled out of the India Open, and some people are saying, of course, it's because of extreme pollution. But people are also talking about the circumstances, and then the Badminton Association is saying, don't worry, we are putting heaters. If it's too cold, we are putting heaters inside. And this is not the only place and only time. The fact of the matter is, recently on the outskirts of Delhi, there was a cricket tournament. I think the Afghan team was here. They were complaining about the condition inside the stadium. In some places, the match had to be stopped because of pigeon poop. This happened today. Pigeon poop is being cleaned. Monkeys are roaming around. Stray dogs are inside the stadium. And there is tons of garbage all around the stadium. And we in India are hosting an international tournament. Well done to all the organizers. Where is the sports minister? I ask again. Are these the guidelines to be followed? Is this the picture of India that we want to provide? And then we're going to be over defensive about it and say, no, you see, these players are bad people. The focus they are putting out is on pollution, because that's the way the sports organizers can get away from it. But I have the social media post of world number 20 women's singles player, Mia Blichfeld. And this is what she writes. Finally home after a long and stressful week in India. It's 2 years in a row now that I get sick during the India Open. It's really hard to accept that many weeks of work and preparation gets wasted because of bad conditions. It's not fair to anyone that we have to train and play in smog, birds shitting on the courts, I might as well say it, there's no point being extra polite with this language, and dirt everywhere. These conditions are so unhealthy and so unacceptable. This is what is being said. We cannot become Viksit Bharat if this is what we do, if this is what we present. And the fact of the matter is, not a single head will roll. What we'll say is these foreign players have too many expectations. I would say, let us not even think of hosting the Olympics unless we get our act together on things like this. Fact of the matter is, you have the BCCI, which has a lot of money, and the IPL, which has a lot of money. They organize their own IPL tournament, cricket tournament. They make money on the sidelines. This is the condition which we leave for the world to see about the facilities that we have. There is no wake-up call. The sports minister will not be pulled up. I'm sure tomorrow there will be this whole, there will be a whole social media post around, Arnab is criticizing the government again, Arnab is criticizing the ruling party again. It's absolutely rubbish, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the same man. I am the same man who exposed the Commonwealth Games scam. I know we have the money, but I think somewhere we just do not care. And we want to cover all this up by saying there must be reasons why Republic is questioning things like this. I'm only questioning a little bit more aggressively than others. I'm surprised the others are not. If this is what has happened, heads must roll.
All right, viewers, that's all we could pack in this edition of Live and Breaking. But news and developments continue on the other side. Stay tuned.
सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबां केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Iran is boiling. Iranians are protesting against the Khamenei regime. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Iranians to keep protesting and take over institutions, and has assured them that help is on the way.
Well, no, they're starting to, it looks like, and there seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make a determination. Well, if they do that, we'll consider things targets that they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. And they won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल। ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े। क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
Iran is boiling. Iranians are protesting against the Khamenei regime. U.S. President Donald Trump has urged Iranians to keep protesting and take over institutions, and has assured them that help is on the way.
Well, no, they're starting to, it looks like, and there seem to be some people killed that aren't supposed to be killed. These are violent, if you call them leaders, I don't know if they're leaders or just they rule through violence. But we're looking at it very seriously.